How's it going? I'm Anthony, and these are stories of my life. For those of you just joining us for the first time, these videos are a cognitive therapy tool for me. I've taken some head injuries over the years. My memory's failing me, and the doctors have suggested that I make these videos to kind of preserve the memories I still have, as well as inspire some of you all who are involved in these events to provide me with details that maybe I have lost, or even remind me of events I've completely forgotten. In which case, then I can either remake an old video with the new details or make a whole new video altogether. So I'm sure you get the idea. At any rate, building off the last video, this is still 1990, 12 years old, getting ready to go into 8th grade, living with my mom, and dealing with everything there. Now, my dad, he had started working, and he was working doing landscape stuff for a lot of high wealth individuals in Riverside, one of which, for example, Malcolm Smith from Malcolm Smith Motorsports. And he was doing better financially because he didn't have to worry about paying for my mom, didn't have to worry about paying for the house, or anything else that was involved with it. So he's in a better place financially. And he knew what I was going through with my mom, so he wanted to do something for me. And we decided to take a road trip. More than that, my dad signed me up for a soccer camp up in Northern California. Now, this particular soccer camp I had been to once already, and I don't remember if it was the year prior or 2 years prior, but I don't really remember the first time I went. All I remember was this time. Now, the soccer camp is called Two Rivers Soccer Camp. Now, if you Google it, you'll find it. But you could also probably go to tworiversoccer.com, I think is what it is. It's been around for over 50 years, and this place was absolutely stunning, just phenomenal. The backdrop of it, you got these soccer fields in the middle of all these pine trees, log cabins, river flowing, actually two rivers flowing by, hence the name. And it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. One of my favorite places in the world. And I'm telling you, if you're a parent, you've got kids into soccer, and you want to do something really cool for them, send them to this camp. Whether it be a week, 2 weeks, whatever it might be, just do it. It's just phenomenal experience all the way around. And the coaches there come from Europe. Most of them from England. I believe you got some Irish and Scottish coaches in there, all professional, former professional soccer players. Some from other parts of Europe, I guess, but mostly, if I remember right, from England. I don't know how it is now, but that's how it was. And it was cool. It was really, really cool, because when you're not playing soccer, you got to do other things. Like they had all these games, and archery, horseback riding, you name it. Just some cool stuff. And my dad, we took the road trip up there, going up the 395. And I can remember going through Hesperia, Victorville, I guess it's Barstow-ish area, and heading up that way. I remember I just thought it was ugly as hell up there. I wasn't a big fan of the desert. I like trees and green and whatever else. And I remember getting into Kern County, and I remember thinking that was hideous also, even worse than San Bernardino area desert. But once you got up into Inyo County, or at least the northern portion of Kern, then it looked better. And Inyo was just absolutely beautiful. In Inyo County, there's a place called Bishop, California, which is a really cool little town. Love that place. If you've never been there, feel free to make a trip through it. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. On the way, though, there was this neat stop that we made at a place called Devil's Postpile National Monument. And what was cool about it is there was these columns of basalt that's standing high, hence the name Devil's Postpile. And a lot of them had fallen down and broken, but there's still tons of them just standing there. Really, really neat to see. Kind of mind-boggling, when you're young. But it was cool. And then there's little waterfalls and some really good hiking. My dad and I used to go hiking all the time, so that was a really neat experience. If you're ever up that way and you see it and you can stop by there, please go by Devil's Postpile. It's really, really cool. From there, we go into Bishop and spend the night in Bishop. Like I said, I love that town. That was a really neat town. And we keep heading on, and we'd always end up taking a sidetrack into Reno. Actually, we go to Carson City and stop in Carson City, Take a look at that really pretty area. I remember the Capitol building had this silver dome on top of it, which is really neat because Nevada's silver state. So it had the silver dome on top of it, and then from there we go on into Reno. And we get into Reno, and we'd always stay at the Circus, and my dad would let me go up to the second floor and play around and give me some money. But then he'd go down to the blackjack tables on the first floor and just rock and roll on the blackjack tables. Now, for those of you that don't know my dad, he was a certifiable genius and really good with math. And so when it came to calculating probabilities of winning, he was phenomenal at it. I don't want to call it counting cards because I don't know that that's exactly what he was doing, but you get the idea. And he was good at calculating those probabilities. And so my dad would spend a couple hours down there, win a bunch of money, come back up, give me some more money, see I was good, get some food with me, and then I'd go play some more, and he'd go back down and win some more money. Spend 4 hours in the blackjack tables. My dad would win enough money to pay for the entire trip there, back, and plus some extra. Which I don't know why he didn't become a professional blackjack player, but whatever. Anyway, from there we would head on into whatever the name of the town is that the soccer camp is at. I don't remember for the life of me. But it was gorgeous. Google it, seriously, Two Rivers Soccer Camp. It's really, really pretty up there. And so we get there, and then my dad would drop me off, and you're there for a week, and maybe 10 days. I think it was a week, though. And we get assigned to different cabins and teams, and you had your own coach attached to you and, to your team. And we do a variety of different things together. And the thing that was funny about this camp is everything about it was insanely competitive. Everything that you did. And so if you're playing a soccer game against another cabin or another team, you win, you got something. And I don't remember what it was. I don't remember it was like first dibs at the chow hall line. You went in first before they did. Or, maybe there was activities that were going on that day, and there's 2 activities to choose from. The winner got to choose which one they wanted, and the loser had to just be stuck with the other one. Things like that. Everything was insanely competitive. And then when we did an activity, if it was a competitive activity like archery, for example, whichever team scored the best on archery got whatever. Whichever team lost whatever. And sometimes losing meant that you guys had to do something embarrassing or something that sucked. Like I can remember we lost something. I want to say it was a capture the flag game or something like that. And everybody on our team had to jump into the river and then jump back out. It was freaking cold. But it was funny because we're like, all right, everybody, including the coach, had to jump in. And but no, it was such a great time. So much fun. I remember, though, during Capture the Flag, I realized I was a sneaky little bastard. Like, I had no problem getting down and dirty and crawling through mud and hiding in, branches and under leaves and all that to get a particular objective done. And I was a sneaky little shit. We didn't always win, but I learned that from Capture the Flag. But the basis of this memory, though, was we had this game at the end of the camp where it was kids versus instructors, and the kids start at one end of the camp, the instructors were at the other, and it was basically like a sharks and minnows type of game where the instructors would try to tag each of the kids, and if they tagged you, you now became one of them, and then you had to turn around and try to tag one of the kids until all the kids had been tagged. The kids, on the other hand, had to go try to get to back to the point where the instructors started. And there was like 2 or 3 checkpoints that you had to get to. The first 2, and then that last one was where they started. And when you get to the checkpoints, you have to literally sign your name on a logbook. And get to the next one, sign your name. Get to the last one, sign your name. And if you won, I don't remember exactly what it was that you won, but I remember winning was a big deal. And it wasn't just one winner, so there could have been like 5 winners if everybody made it to the final checkpoint. But whoever won got something, and I don't remember for the life of me what it was now. I remember you got the upgraded dinner and blah blah blah, but there was a lot to it, so it made it seriously competitive. And if somebody won, then whoever ended up being tagged or the instructors all had to suffer through something. If everybody got tagged, then the kids didn't lose anything. They weren't punished. They were just whatever. But the instructors were rewarded with something. So, like I said, insanely competitive. And so we started. And instructors were running around, running after kids. And I think I was probably the only one that realized I'm not going to be fast enough to outrun these freaking instructors. These are former professional soccer players. These guys can run. So I'm not going to outrun them and not get tagged. So I went back to sneaky mode. And so I'm hiding in bushes, hiding under things, as I can, hiding on rooftops of buildings or cabins or even under them if it was possible. And just totally going the sneaky ninja route. I think I'd seen way too many army movies, but, that's how it goes. And I remember at one point I was scoping out a hiding spot and some kid comes around the corner. I knew he had been tagged. And he comes around the corner looking at me like, oh shit, I can go tag this guy. And I was like, did you see him? And he's like, huh? I said, did you see him? There was somebody that was hiding around here. He's got to be right around here. And the kid's like, who? I said, there's somebody who hasn't been tagged. He's right around here somewhere. And the kid's like, where? Did you see him? I was like, I'll go this way, you go that way. And he goes, when he runs off. I go the other direction. I used this ploy probably 2, 3, 4 times, and I even got one of the checkpoint signatures because of it. I came out of a hiding spot, and I just casually walked up to one of the checkpoints and started talking to one of the guys one of the kids that was trying to card it. And I said, did you see anybody come by here yet? He's like, no. I was like, okay, I think there's still like 5 or 6 people that haven't been tagged. I said, I didn't see anybody. And you could tell he was antsy, didn't want to be there, just standing there waiting. He wanted to go look for people. And I said, if you want to go look, I'll wait here. I'm tired, man. I was just chasing somebody over there. He's like, all right. So he runs off and goes and does his thing. So I walk right over the logbook, sign the logbook, put it down, move on to the next one. And so I did this through 2 logbooks, and finally we get to the last area, and the last area was tough. And the only rule we really had was that you cannot cross the river. And so, okay, can't cross the river. But I can go down by the river. Now, the thing is the way the river ran on the side that we were allowed to be on was this really steep embankment. Sometimes it was like straight vertical. And it went all the way around to the point where you got to this bridge, and there was this wooden bridge. And the final logbook was on the bridge, in the middle of the bridge. And there was somebody standing there at the mouth of the bridge. So there was no way you were going to get to this logbook without pulling something sneaky out of your ass, right? So that's what I felt I was going to do. So now I'm like, okay, I can't cross this open field because everything in front of it's an open field. Can't cross it. Everybody's going to see me. And this guy was smart. It was an instructor, and anybody that walked anywhere near him, that even if they were one of the taggers, they would just all touch everybody just to make sure that everybody had been touched. And so he wasn't letting anybody by. So I went down by the river, and I'm skirting the river on the inbound side, and I can hear them yelling, there's still one person that hasn't been tagged. I'm like, oh shit. So let's go check over here. And I can hear them coming. So I don't know, must have been something like out of Predator, must have seen Predator or something. But I decided to pull an Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I covered myself in mud, face, everything covered in mud. And I pressed back up against the embankment. And I can hear them walking around above me, literally like a foot or 2 above me, walking around, looking around. I don't see him. I remember some kid coming off down to my right, by the water, looking up the water, looking down the water, but didn't see me, because of the mud. And I was like, I don't see him. And he goes running back up, and they're walking around up above me, and I wouldn't move until finally, once I heard them all kind of leave, and I was able to peek up and see that, they kind of had, then I continued skirting the water. And then I get down by the bridge, and now I'm at the bridge, and I can look up over where the mouth of the bridge is, and I see this freaking instructor just standing there right by the bridge. There's no way you can get up there and get onto the bridge and do this. So I'm like, okay, how am I going to pull this off? So I'm like, okay, I got it. And the bridge was wood, and there was this support beam to it. So I wipe off my hands, and I somehow get up there, and I climb up onto the bridge, where I now got my hands on the bridge. And so I'm like this, and I start shimmying this way, legs dangling down over the river. And, I'm now in the middle of the bridge, and I can see the logbook. So now I got to get up onto the bridge, climb up, grab the bottom railing beam, get up there, grab the top one, climb up, get up over it. And I got to do this slow as hell because I don't want to make any noise and alert the guy at the bridge. So I finally get up over the railing, and I sit down, I grab the logbook, sign it, set it down. I was the only signature on the freaking logbook. Only one. So I sit down and I wait. I don't want to say anything, spoil the surprise, but I just wait. Finally, another instructor comes walking up to the one that had been sitting there, and he starts talking to him. I remember what he said. Then finally, he looks over his shoulder and sees me, and he points. He's like, "Hey, look!" And the guy turns around, and he was so pissed. Like, how did you get there? And I showed him I signed the logbook and whatever else. And they didn't believe me. They thought I cheated. They're like, you crossed the river. Which made sense because I was covered in mud, You crossed the river. No, I didn't. I didn't. I explained what I did. Showed them my socks weren't wet. I couldn't have crossed the river. There really was nowhere to cross. And so my socks weren't wet. I said, you can even go back and check. And so a couple of the instructors ran down to where I said I was. And they went and looked around. And sure enough, they saw my footprints and everything else, and where I had been crawling, and saw that I stayed on this side of the river. And they finally came back and were like, yeah, he won. So yeah, that was cool. I remember dinner after that, I got to eat all kinds of good food, desserts, and everybody in the camp was pissed. All the 15, 16, 17-year-olds were livid that this little 12-year-old managed to outsmart everybody and make it to the end, and whatever else. It was so funny. Yeah, I was the only one that did. And to the best of my knowledge, I think I was the only one that had in at least the last 9-10 years, if not since the camp began. So, or when they started doing the game. But yeah, it was a good time. That was funny. That was fun. So yeah, I mean, seriously, never mind the games. The soccer was amazing too. So if you ever get the chance, send your kid to Two Rivers Soccer Camp. It's well worth it for them. You can see it in my face that I still have these memories of it, and I loved it. Absolute blast. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.